Welcome back. Are you ready to get started? I've spent the last 10 years coaching and consulting in SMEs and blue chip companies, and before that, I had a successful career in manufacturing, in senior operations, and divisional continuous improvement roles. Some of the leaders I've worked with have described my involvement in their businesses as truly eye opening and transformative in establishing their ways of working. These businesses range from multi-billion-pound defence delivery programs to medium-sized manufacturing companies in diverse industries such as aerospace and consumer packaging. I've seen these leaders and their teams realise truly transformative increases in operational performance while simultaneously changing the culture to one that continually strives for excellence. These leaders usually had the same three problems. The first being an immediate and short term operational performance issue, which was the catalyst to seeking outside help. Issues like poor delivery performance, quality concerns, or low levels of productivity, which you yourself might be experiencing right now. The second was a skepticism amongst the people in their teams about the effectiveness of improvement techniques and methodologies like Lean, Six Sigma, and total quality management. And the third was a personal concern about their own reputation as the leader responsible for both the team and their operational performance. Leaders are normal people too, and as such hold anxieties and fears about the security of their position within the business and the ultimate impact these three problems could have on themselves, their careers, and their personal lives. In my career, I've been responsible for deploying top down corporate improvement strategies. What I discovered was that although the tool, technique, or methodology that we rolled out worked in the short term, it was rarely sustained without continued independent auditing. This always left me with a feeling that this approach was unnecessarily autocratic and impersonal. When I spoke to the people about why they drifted back to the original ways of doing things, it was clear to me that it rarely had anything to do with the change itself, but rather how they perceived the change. Addressing the perception led to an acceptance of the change and therefore an irreversibility of the improvements made. I realised that the secret to irreversible operational excellence was to foster a culture which focused on both the needs of the individuals and the needs of the businesses at the same time. This culture had to be one founded on collaboration, empathy, and a genuine desire by the leadership to support the people they were responsible for. I now believe that people have an inherent desire to be motivated to perform at their best. And I also believe that it's their own attitudes and perceptions that prevent them from doing so. This is as much true for leadership ability as it is for the people doing the work on the front line. Before we go any further, let's start by getting on the same page so that you understand what I mean by operational excellence. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but for the purposes of this masterclass, it will help to get aligned on definitions. The traditional definition of operational excellence might be something like a business philosophy that focuses on the continuous improvement of organizational processes and performance. It aims to create a culture where employees are constantly seeking ways to enhance efficiency, quality, and customer satisfaction. Achieving operational excellence means that a company can deliver high quality products and services consistently while minimizing waste and maximizing value. Put simply, operational excellence is how a business creates a way of continually improving what it does. It's about how the people who make up that business constantly strive to make the business the best it can be. Or, in other words, focusing on reaching its potential. As an aside, operational management is about optimizing what you have now, not necessarily changing it to reach its full potential. An outcome of building an operational excellence system might be the creation of an operational management system, which will have the aim of delivering value to the customer. To achieve excellence, you need both. The problem I have with a definition like this is that the wording implies to me that somebody can come along and engineer a culture in which employees do what the organisation wants them to do. As I've just mentioned, I know this because I've been paid in the past to deploy an organisation's improvement strategy using a mindset which amounts to treating people as resources or assets. People are neither of these things. The people in your organisation are the organisation. And not understanding this crucial concept is what will doom any improvement strategy to failure. Operational excellence shouldn't be about creating a culture, but rather defining how a culture is created. Culture, after all, is simply the product of the shared actions and behaviours of the people who exist within it. Reality check. There is a phenomenon that happens when you try to improve a business with a mindset that treats people like resources or assets. During the time when the company invests resources into doing improvement, like a Lean or Six Sigma rollout, there is almost certainly an increase in performance. Everybody involved in the strategy development and the deployment on the ground feel great about what's happened, and they may even pat each other on the back for a job well done. But what is it like for the people doing the work? They're suddenly the centre of attention and have the spotlight on them. So whether they understand the why, or the how, or the what needs to be done differently, they will almost certainly just do it because they feel like people are watching. As soon as those improvement people move away, what do you think happens? They start to drift back to the way they've always done it. What normally then happens to stop this drift is that the business invests more resources into performing compliance checks and auditing. But what happens as soon as those resources aren't available anymore to continue with that system of auditing? You've probably guessed it. The people again start to drift back to the way they used to do it, and the performance of the organisation also starts to drift back to where it was. So the question is, why does this happen? And what is it that businesses and the leaders within it can do differently so that the next round of improvement activity are irreversible? This is what we'll be covering in the rest of this masterclass. I'll see you in the next lesson.